What's up, my brothers and my sisters from another mister? So today we're going to do a full story review of King Spawn Violent and Brutal Story Part 4. This is where Spawn unleashes his wrath and his vendetta begins. This will cover King Spawn issue number 19 through 24. If you haven't caught up on our other previous King Spawn's brutal and violent stories, you know, I'll put the links in descriptions for the part 1s, part 2s, and part 3s so you guys can get caught up. And if you are caught up or you just want to get into it, hey, this is the video for you. Before we get into the content, links in the description if you wish to purchase any of the comic books and or some of our Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Also, timestamps will be in description if you wish to go from issue to issue. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to Rated Comics YouTube channel if you're liking the content we're throwing up. It'll help Rated Comics to create more content like this. Now, with all that being said, hey, let's get into the content. So before we get into this issue, we're just going to talk about previously what happened in King Spawn. Spawn goes head to head with the creature known as the Behemoth, created by the remnants of the Psalms 137 cults. So we go into this panel with New York City. The city's abuzz with the festival. And like this punk right here, he's on a mission and nothing in the world will stop him. Nothing except a kid desperate for a chance to see Santa. And as he's looking at the Santa from the Salvation Army doing the most good, this kid tells him, doing the most good for who? I bet you keep all the cash. And this kid bumps into him and hits his eye chest, and this punk gets pissed because inside the eye chest a brain comes out of it, and all the girl can do is yell out for mommy. You stupid cow, get out of here. And the pedestrians look at him like, perhaps, good sir, you may want to rethink your attitude towards a young lady. Eat shit, old man. He probably would have said that for dramatic purposes. And the girl's like, is that like someone's brain? You keep your mouth shut and you didn't see anything. And he goes back to the man and tells him to mind his own business and knocks him in the chin with the ice chest. And the brain, off ice, its recipient is gonna be mad enough to kill. And that's where these two detectives come in. They get a call about a brain on the street with no body attached, and Sam's like, this is gonna be some shit right here. So they go to the crime scene. Sam and Twitch look at the brain, and the crime scene isn't particularly bloody since a brain only has so much blood when fully intact. So Twitch is like, these interviews are gonna be fun. They interviewed the Santa, and the Santa's like, man, I only do this gig for cash and that's all. I don't even like kids. I don't even want to be here. And this other brother was like, yeah, he dressed and talked like some punk rocker or something. He had a bit of an accent too. And they asked the little girl, like, do you remember anything else, says Twitch? And the little girl's like, well, the brain looked kind of real. So this homeless person talks to Sam and Twitch and tells him the card. Someone leaves these cards. Some lab doing research. They get your brain when you're dead. Here's a business card. Go talk to them. And on that card is the Exodus Foundation, and it's in Midtown, New York. So later, Sam and Twitch interrogate Mr. Merrill, and Mr. Merrill tells him, well, you two must be quite dedicated to your jobs doing all this on Christmas Eve, you know? Twitch's response to working on Christmas Eve is, you know what, sadly, crime never takes a day off. And Sam notices that they have a bit of an infestation problem in the office. But the guy, Mr. Merrill's like, yeah, don't let a few bugs scare you. And as mentioned before when you called, I assure you what we do here is legal. We offer very fair compensation to the downtrodden who might wish to donate their brains in the occurrence of their death. And Sam has a legitimate question. He asks him, do you ever think your arrangement might influence some people to commit murder? And Mr. Merrill tells him, we're a business detective. Though, Sandra, do you see what I'm looking at here? And he's looking at Sam's big ass head. And Sandra says, oh, on it, sir. Detective Burke, you have quite the prominent brow. If you'd like to get details on how to donate for research, we'll pay you quite well. And this pisses Sam off, and Twitch is like, yo, man, relax. You're gonna get us in trouble. You trying to bribe me, man? And Sam just gets more pissed. Like, look, whatever you guys are doing here, I promise you I'll be back with a ton of warrants and a foot ready to shove so far up your ass, you might want to put that on your day planner. Duly noted, and good afternoon, gentlemen, says Mr. Merrill. Oh my god, look at that head. It's a Neanderthal, which is code for, yo, Sam, you got a big ass head, and this brother is in, and he wants to investigate on what goes on in that head of yours. Kind of a little bit of a dark humor here. So meanwhile, while outside, Sam and Twitch are arguing, and Twitch is telling Sam to calm down, and Sam's like, man, give me a break. We can't be all Boy Scouts like you. And that brother was mocking me. People are getting their heads freaking slashed off on Christmas Eve, and you want me just to go on with that brother's bullshit? Hell no. While in this commotion, Twitch's phone rings. He answers the phone. The person addresses him by his name. Detective Twitch, Avenue A, the abandoned building. Be there in 15 minutes. And Twitch is like, why is that? He's waiting. Who's waiting? And Twitch is like, well, we need to go. So they arrive to the building 13 minutes later, and Sam tells him, I got you covered. How do you want to play it? And Twitch is like, just follow my lead. So they go up the stairs and they go up to the door, and Detective Twitch tells him, yo, NYPD, open up. And then Sam tells him, you see that? It's the same bug we saw at the Exodus office. So they give it one more warning before they kick down that freaking door and do their freaking thing. And once they enter, they see the punk laying disemboweled with the business card. And Twitch notices that this punk matches the description. And Sam notices that this isn't a corporation's hit job. They dumped the body to make it clean. Somebody wanted to make a mess, trying to send some kind of message. And what do you think that message is? Well, whoever it was, looks like they wanted the info on that card to be seen. The Exodus Foundation. That is some serious mind games going on. So 24 hours earlier, that same punk was on the lookout for a hiding spot. And he can't drop the brain of the middle of the street and just go about your business. Plus, he needed to call his employer. He wasn't looking forward to that phone call. And before he makes that phone call to his employer, we see Spawn right behind, following his man. And he turns around thinking it was just his nerves. That's all he tells himself. So he makes the phone call, the person answers, and the punk tells the other person, give me the big man or the twins, because things got a bit messed up tonight. They don't take calls, and they don't respond to unprofessional sloppiness. And so the punk tells him, yeah, well, how professional is it gonna look when everyone in the city knows what they're doing? So, like it or not, you might want to help me out before it comes out. And the guy's like, well, we are not in the help business. You made this bed so you can sleep in it, but I will convey your threat to them. And the punk gets mad, like, you son of a bitch, that's not what I meant. And tell them I've got their cooler with the brain in it. I thought they needed that. Now, whose brain is in that cooler? Well, earlier, the item sitting in the cooler was extracted from a college professor. It was a well-timed lunch break attack and a hacksaw. That's all it took. And that's the punk hacksawing the head off the professor's. It ain't no big thing, just another day back in the office. But back in the here and now though, something strange is happening. In a distant room, he sees what he's looking for. He sees the cooler. He also sees something else, and that something else is Spawn. And Spawn asks him in the shadows, who's doing this? And the punk takes out his gun. Whatever you are, you stay right there. That brain right there, it's mine. I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna walk out of here. You got that? He opens up the ice chest. Well, he sees a lot of ice, but no brain. And then Spawn gets pissed and he merges out of the shadows. I said, who's doing this? Like vengeance, he comes, chains flying and snapping at its master's command, while the punk's skin is cut by the razor-sharp edges of his crimson cloak. No answer, says Spawn. Well, he just rips his arms out of his socket. Then I'll deliver my message instead. Tell them Spawn is back. Say it. Spawn is back. The pain has already made the punk delirious, and Spawn's like, yes. It's the last thing the punk sees. So hours later, Sam tells Twitch, I still don't like the stink of all this. Something ain't adding up. And Twitch tells him, well, Exodus isn't breaking any laws, so we can't stop anyone who wants to sell their organs or body parts. Hell, I might even plan to do it myself. And Sam's like, you're gonna sell your brain? No, but I don't mind my organs helping someone in need once I'm gone. And Sam, this is too heavy of a conversation for Sam. And Twitch just tells him, well, I'm just saying I like to help out where I can. And Sam sees it as, look, you're gonna cut your body up and let them cut your body up however they want it and just donate it? This is some jackass shit that I'm not ready to hear. Then Sam says, I just hate waiting. I wish we had an ace in the hole or something. And it turns out they do, but they gotta be careful what they ask for, because their ace in the hole might be Spawn. And Spawn greets him, evening boys. And that is the end of this issue of King Spawn, issue number 19. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. I thought Spawn was definitely going to have a lot more vengeance as this, but then again, maybe in issue number 20 we see exactly who is behind all that brain and ice right there. But link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of the other comic books and or Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Before we get into this issue, I could not get this review out yesterday because my voice sounded like crap, and though it's a little bit better,
It still sounds a little bit like crap, but in the words of Debo,
stop being a bitch and come on.
I had to see it through and come through for the boys and the girls. Alright, so previously on King Spawn, the Exodus Foundation has been collecting people's brains. Their sinister purpose is still unknown, but Spawn is on the hunt. And the thing is, when people die, a company has been offering to pay for them, pay for their brains. And because of that, there are some that are in the hurry to cash in and get that cash quicker than never mind. I was going to say a joke, but I think I'm going to refrain from it. So like this brother in the sports car right here, driving in a high-speed pursuit, and inside his canister, he has a couple, maybe a few, multiple brains. He's on the phone and he tells his sister not to worry, he'll get to meet her. But ease up on that mind games, can you? At least until we open her skull. So whoever he's meeting tonight, he plans on opening her skull. But we see that he's being pursued by these cops and our boy Spawn in the back. And the reason why Spawn's pursuing him is because a recent rash of murders led to a track of Spawn leading him to a company called the Exodus Foundation. And with this Exodus Foundation, they're willing to destroy neighborhoods just to pad their profits. Who, among their many divisions, gouge the price of crude oil. They're greedy like that. And now these people at the Exodus Foundation want to control our mind. And because they want to control minds, they've inadvertently drawn unwanted attention. So this guy tells his sister over the phone he has 3 brains in the car that he's transporting right now: a judge, an annoying DA, and dad's least favorite CEO. So tell him to have his team waiting. He'll arrive soon with their investments. And he asks his sister, what are you doing? So his sister tells him, I'm getting acquainted with your date. She's already here. And he's like, cool. And the sister tells the guy, your date wants me to pass along the message that she wants you to drive safe. Well, drive safe my ass. Spawn is going to make sure that don't happen. And before we go any further into the content, we're just going to take a moment to relish this panel right here, because this is pretty badass right here. So with that impact, I'm not sure if this guy should physically and humanly survive that kind of collision, but for the sake of storytelling, we're going to go with it. Spawn tells him to get up, but as he gets up and runs away, because he's like, fuck that shit, I'm not dealing with this brother right here, he drops a photo, one that freezes Spawn in his own tracks, giving this guy his only chance to escape. We don't know what kind of photo that is, at least not yet. But elsewhere at the NYPD precinct, Sam and Twitch are talking to Terry about the Exodus Foundation, and Sam is pissed that their encounter in the previous issue, King Spawn number 19, these guys were measuring my damn freaking head like it was some kind of freaking joke, but they were sizing up their pockets at the expense of my head. So Terry's like, well, their nets have gotten bigger, they're sending dreads to kill judges and professors, so that's what the Exodus Foundation is. So Terry reminds Sam and Twitch that they said something when you guys were questioning him. They were asking you guys if he believed. And Twitch is like, belief had nothing to do with it, especially when you leave a man looking like this and he shows him a picture. And Terry's like, I'll tell you what you should be scared of. They got enough resources to do whatever they want. And what if that belief, maybe that's what they're researching, dissecting people's brains, hoping to find a way to influence you. And Twitch is like, maybe, but what about Spawn? How does he fit into this? And Terry's like, no clue, but if you want to talk to him, I can arrange for that for you. Really, says Sam, you making the brothers appointments? And Terry's like, look, man, I'm in no mood for your sarcasm, all right? You want his help or not? Because he's fighting his own wars right now, but I think Terry believes that Spawn is somehow connected. It's the first wave, the infantry, trying to gain ground before the heavy artillery rolls in. And Sam's like, you act like there's some kind of invasion coming. And Terry's like, well, because there is one, a biblical one. And because of that, I have a daughter that is missing. And Spawn might know where she is. So yes, I've been staying close to Spawn, because I think Spawn is keeping her hidden from me. That's the thing with our boy Spawn. He isn't in for anyone's best interest, just his own. But luckily, his interest mostly lines up with the right thing, with what we're doing. But at heart, he is a cold-blooded killer. And Sam and Twitch are like, yo, man, some smoke's coming in. Spawn's coming in the room. You better cut that shit out. And Terry's like, what, man? You guys are okay? What's up? And Spawn comes in and hands Terry the photo. Terry, you need to see this. The picture. That's the picture the one guy left behind. But he shows it to Terry, and Terry is in tears. Where did you get this? From the Exodus, says Spawn. Well, when was that taken? I don't know. And Terry's like, you think they have her? And Sam was like, what are you guys talking about? What's in that picture? It turns out it's Cyan, Terry's daughter. Spawn leaves, nothing to say because the picture speaks volume, and he leaves something else behind. And Twitch picks up all the paperwork, and Twitch realizes that's the guy we interviewed. It's his kid Bateman from the Exodus Foundation. That's his kid from King Spawn issue number 19. And Terry's like, I'm calling for backup because if anyone has touched my daughter, if they've done this shit with her head, I'm gonna burn this whole freaking city to the ground. And Spawn realizes, yeah, he's right. If any suffering happens to Cyan and she turns out to be a casualty of this, not only will Terry burn this city down, but Spawn will burn this city down too. And we get this cool gangster panel right here of Spawn overlooking the city, and he overlooks this restaurant called Momo's. It's a restaurant that kid's dad's company owns. He walks in like he owns the freaking joint. He's safe, but he's not. Bateman has his assassins watching him, making sure that if anyone makes a move, they have tactical position. This is a business deal of some kind. Who's he waiting for? We don't know. But here we see his sister, Tar Marival, his twin, come out the car, about to go into the reunion, about to go in for the meet. So Spawn emerges, comes in, and like Terry said, the brother is a cold-blooded killer. He goes in, handles business, haymakers a guy inward. You can see that jaw dislodging from his mouth. And Spawn's like, yo man, I did my part. It's on Terry now, and there's no stopping that Terry. That Terry's coming in with that smoke, and he wants that smoke. He's looking for it. So outside, Terry is wired up, but not bricked up. Why would he be? But anyways, jokes aside, he receives word from Sam and Twitch, and they tell him, do not make a scene. And Terry's like, shut the hell up, man. You got a daughter, Sam, or what? No, just listen. Nah, I ain't listen. I'm going in. So he goes in with flowers, you know, undercover kind of thing. And Sam tells him, Terry, I just need you to get an ID on them and get out. Terry approaches the guy, and Sam knows Terry ain't listening, so he calls him out one more time. Terry ain't trying to hear that stuff. Terry pulls out a gun, puts it on his face. Where's my daughter? Turns out Cyan's right next door. I don't know what is up with these people wanting brains aside from them wanting to control minds, but this King Spawn is absolutely gangster. Link in description if you guys wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Also, don't forget to check out RatedComics.com for our other comic books as well as some of our Rated Comics exclusives.
So previously on King Spawn, while following their leads on the Exodus Foundation, the sudden appearance of Terry's daughter, Cyan, threatens to derail the investigation. So the thing is, now imagine if one of your family members had the powers of a Hellspawn. That's Cyan. In some dingy New York City hotel, that's exactly what's playing out here. Terry goes up to Cyan, what are you doing here? Get out of here. They're gonna use your brain, but Cyan ain't trying to hear all that noise. And Spawn, for now, he's ignoring Terry and Cyan's conflict up above. For now, he has another family member on his mind, which is why he stalks the basement floor of the Exodus Labs. Wanda Blake, his deceased wife, can be brought back from the dead. That's his focus. His battle with Jericho, Disruptor, and the Quarter Priest have all led him here because all of them had one thing in common, and that's where the research includes harvesting brains. And this is referencing Spawn issues 267 through 269. So doctors, professors, scientists all have been victims, but to what end? These dogs come out on the right side of Spawn and the left side of Spawn. Now Spawn, he could kill the animals where they stand, but they're only doing what they're trained to do. And for Al Simmons, a former military man, he understands how that training works. Should these animals have to suffer because of their master training them the wrong way? So Spawn throws the brains at him, a sizable chunk that could keep him occupied and not keep him as hungry for a little bit. He investigates some of the refrigerated drawers. They seem to be perfectly preserved, though it appears they've all been injected with some type of chemical. None of this sits well with Spawn. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. So having tell Terry from the restaurant, Sam and Twitch silently wait outside Terry's hotel room until a sound of struggle comes in. And Sam's like, forget it, man, I'm going in. And Twitch's like, we don't have a warrant, so you can't go in. Don't start with that bullshit with me, Twitch. I ain't in no damn mood, says Sam. And when they go into Terry's hotel room, they see Terry being, powered by Cyan. And you know what? It's just crazy that they have to come in and witness all that. But their job isn't to question the powers or where they come from. Their job is to get answers and get to the bottom of this. Even though they're kind of used to seeing Spawn and his powers, They can't get used to seeing a daughter overpowering her dad like that. So Sam tells Cyan, please put your father down. I need to show you some photos. It takes her another 10 seconds to decide, but she does put her father down. So Cyan's like, what are you gonna show me? He shows her the photos and he tells Cyan, these are the kinds of people you're involved with. And she's all in shocked about it. She's horrified. And Sam tells her, these are Maryville's victims. He had you come back to America so they could do that to you. They wanted your brain. Your dad was trying to prevent that. And you might want to cut him some slack because your dad is just being a dad right now. So they leave outside the hotel room and Twitch is like, you think she believed you? Hell if I know. I don't know. So later on, he lets the silence stew, and there's only one thing that sticks in Sam Burke's craw more than anything else, and that's open cases, especially those that have been lingered on for years. In the Exodus case, it's beginning to feel like it's heading to that direction. And usually Sam's more attentive to his surroundings, but he doesn't notice the nearby bystander taking a picture of him. Usually he notices this, but everything seems out of whack to him. Plus he leaves because the coffee sucks. So he continues trying to piece things together, trying to understand why the hell a science lab needs brains. Other organs can be used for like transplants, even dumped on the black markets for a whole lot of cash, but he can't justify any answer for brains. So this woman goes up to him, allegedly, I think that's the woman that took pictures of him, and it is the woman that took pictures of him. So she tells him, I want to show you a photo to show you the kind of people you're involved with. And he's been following, he's pissed. Who the hell are you? You think this is funny? You're scum, you and your entire corporation. Go ahead and laugh, because I promise when this joke's over, you won't find anything funny about any of this. Keep talking, says the lady. You're making me hot and steamy. Well, not that kind of hot steam, but she's just foreplaying with him. Now, Bateman Maryville arrives, and once again, because Sam is out of whack, he doesn't see the brother coming from behind him. He puts him in a chokehold. Do it, fat boy. Release. Try to get out of this, and I'll break your freaking neck, alright? The end times are here, like it or not. He injects his neck, he gets knocked out, and Bateman Maryville tells him, and those who've turned on God are about to find out we got God on our own right here, right now on Earth. And he knocks Sam out in the cold. But they need to be damn sure Sam's memories of Spawn now play a huge part of that. Brains, now Spawn's memory plays a huge part in the Exodus Foundation. What is going on? So some innocent restaurant bystander, waiter, or something like that goes outside, sees this all going down, and he gets blasted for being an unbeknownst witness. And that's just the name of the game when it comes to the Exodus Foundation. You got to go, bro. Maryville tells Sam to wake up. I know you hear me. You should have left things alone the way they are. We had Cyan and her powers, but you had to interfere, didn't you? Well, now I've got you instead. And they said Spawn, what he believes, and how to influence him. See, he's gonna be all the key to what we need. We need to get that into this fat man's head. So give me that brain of yours. And the girl's like, bruh, don't be an idiot. His brain won't survive the trip. You start cutting him open now, it ain't gonna make it. Shut up and drive, because we're gonna learn your secret, Sammy, aren't we? And Sam realizes he only has one chance to get up out of there, so he takes it, gets him to the side, gauges her eyes out, stop the damn car. The car begins to swerve before it comes to a screeching halt into this building right here. But the struggle just begins anew. The lady turns around and says, stop, this isn't what your father ordered. Bateman, look, says Sam. They turn around and they are shocked to what they see, because right now they see Spawn with these dogs, and these dogs with these brains, and Spawn is pissed. Exodus has begun, and the new Bible being written says men and women shall turn away from their own salvation. They shall deny God and his Savior, and in that denial a new world will be made. I mean, even though this not a lot of action in this issue, but then again, a great story in my personal opinion. I absolutely dug it. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Previously in King Spawn, Spawn discovers the Exodus Foundation's vault of brains. Meanwhile, Sam has been taken hostage in an effort to keep Spawn at bay. So the lay of the land is this: Exodus has been harvesting human brains, attempting to unlock the hidden secrets they may hold. To that end, they ambush Sam Burke in hopes of cutting his head open. Yo man, it's just twisted AF in this book. As for Spawn, he invaded their warehouses, guarded by a pack of junkyard dogs with appetites for brains. So Spawn gives it to them. The canines chase their dinner, uninterested on where it lands. Throws it at Sam, this girl, and this dude. Because whatever Exodus is using to keep the brains healthy, it makes the dogs ravenous. And Spawn wants to feed them because they're hungry like that, regardless of the collateral damage it may cause. And these dogs go to work on these people. So Spawn asks Sam, you okay? And Sam is like, I'm good, don't worry about me. But those bastards want to lobotomize whoever they want just to serve their corporate scum. And Spawn's like, why'd they come looking for me? I don't know, says Sam. They thought I had the goods on you or something. You're a pawn. They're using you, says Spawn. You think? Well, how about I give him a little payback, says Sam. So as she runs away, Spawn's like, you want me to send the dogs? And Sam's like, nah, I got really good aim. So he shoots and hits her in the back of the leg. She falls down. They call her Lady Madeline. Working for Exodus has always given her a keen sense of confidence. Well, throw that confidence out the window, bruh, because that ass is Spawn's. And Sam's too. They share like that. They ain't stingy. So until today, ain't no more confidence. She has to get up. And Spawn tells her to get it because you're going to show me what's inside that warehouse and what it means. Then you're going to tell me everything I need to know about Exodus. And then when I'm done, you'll go back to your bosses and lie to them. Tell them you won. I don't care. Maybe then they won't kill you. So meanwhile, for the past 12 hours, Cyan and her father Terry have been picking away at old wounds, opening up the pent-up resentment that's been built up over the past year and a half. The emotions range from abandonment to rage to disappointment, fear, and sadness, literally unleashing a trove of rhetoric all based around a single topic, and that topic is the death of Wanda Blake, her mom and his wife, until their standoff is suddenly intruded upon. There's a knock on the door. They go outside. It's empty. No one's in the hallway, and it's very sussy and dark. Who is it, says Terry. They go outside, and it's Tar Maryville. You skipped out on your date with my brother, says Tar. We weren't done with you yet, Cyan. And that's going back a couple issues back. So Cyan is incredibly powerful, so much so that she's unable to touch anyone without stealing their thoughts. So when Tar reaches for her, she recoils. But Tar has powers of her own, enough to drop Cyan to the floor, sending her into convulsions. And Cyan drops to the floor. Your daughter's parlor tricks didn't quite work, did they? And Terry's like, what did you do? You fix her now. You hear me? He pulls out his gun. But relax, says Tar Maryville. She's not gonna die, Terry. We still need her. But the question is, can we say the same about you? And Behemoth comes out, and we all know Behemoth from a few issues back. He duked it out with Spawn, and Terry don't want none of that smoke. So the creature showed up when Jericho kidnapped Terry, but now it starts to come into focus. Jericho, Exodus, Quarter Priest, they be using all of them like pawns all along, like so many others in this war. So Terry asks her, how much time does Cyan have? Enough for you to run and get help? Maybe. So elsewhere, Spawn and Sam drag their hostage back towards the warehouse. And Sam tells her whoever's brains are in there, those are murder victims. Here's what I can tell you, says Lady Madeline. Both of you are screwed. Don't move. She assumes a different position and points a gun at him. But Sam, for his height and weight, he moves surprisingly fast for his frame, and he decks her in the face. Screw you, says Sam. Compared to what you tried on me, I'm going soft, so suck it up and keep moving. And she's like, okay, I didn't know you had hands like that. There's a monster down there. Good, says Spawn. That means you take the lead then. And one other thing, as he points the gun at her, you so much as turn around, you're dead. I don't care if you're human, hybrid, or demon. My patience is now over. So do me a favor, ignore everything I just said as Spawn sees a switch, and that switch looks like it's something important. I like nothing better than to wipe you and your friends out. Now, which way? To the right, then down below, says Lady Madeline. I think I'll stick with you for a few more minutes, says Spawn. So he hits the switch, and this rumble opens a door down below. They go down. They begin their descent, and Sam is shocked at what he sees and the smell that he has to endure too. How many of them did you bring here? It is a morgue, and it's just brutal, and this is torturous, and this is bloody, and this is something that this is not meant for your average kind of eyes. All right, how many did you bring here, says Spawn. Don't remember. It could be thousands, says Lady Madeline. Thousands? All of them eventually dismembered so they could build data link storage information extrapolated from the victim's DNA. Spawn, the thought of it made him so angry because of some corporations' profit margins enrages Spawn on what they're doing to these people. He's done playing nice. It's time to turn the tables. The computer banks must hold some answers, and he turns the computers on so he can get more data and footage as to what went down here. Sam is like, while you're messing with the computers, I'm gonna look around, alright? When he does, he tells Spawn there's someone else in the building, and they see someone. Sam puts out his gun. Spawn is pissed. As they near, Spawn notices the person isn't moving. They might not even be breathing. Oh my gosh, said Spawn. Her name is Yoko. She was a friend of Cyan's who everyone believed was dead after she disappeared in Japan. Ha ha ha! You have no idea the trouble you stepped into. Somehow, she's the key to unlocking people's minds. The Exodus Corporation, Cyan, Terry, Wanda, the Scorched, the Thrones of Heaven and Hell. She's the linchpin tying everything together. Spawn's entire perception of what's real and what isn't is about to fall into its proper place. And yo, man, that is one crazy ending, and I don't know what the hell, but it's sinister and it's crazy. Didn't I tell you it was gonna be a sinister ending? And that is one sinister ending. And this is editor notes of Spawn issue number 276. So previously in King Spawn, Spawn discovers that Cyan's friend Yoku is still alive and has been turned into a living weapon by the Exodus Foundation. So Spawn thought she had died in an unfortunate accident in Japan. He'd gone there to help rescue his best friend's daughter, which he did, but one of the victims of that rescue, part of the collateral damage from that mission was the demise of Cyan's young friend with mysterious powers, Yoku. But now it turns out that the Corporation Exodus, the same entity bent on running Spawn, had been aware of her too. They've been giving her extracted brains to wield her powers on and to meld with. And this is a reference to Spawn issue 276 to 283. It appears to have worked. Those brains are now a part of Yoko's being, and their anger, their hate towards Spawn is as palpable as her own. So when Spawn knew her, she was Cyan's friend in the form of a ghost. She had tried to protect Cyan from a criminal segment of Japan's underworld. In the end, she couldn't. She feels Spawn abandoned Cyan in Japan. So why does she have to die for Spawn's mistake as she unleashes all these ghosts onto Spawn? She loves Cyan as a sister. So we go back to Japan last year. Yoku says she would have done anything to protect Cyan. From the scientist, from the demon Shizumu who killed her first. Then you came, Spawn, and you were jealous that Cyan becoming more powerful than you. And when you killed my murderer, you thought you freed me? No. As I was ascending to the light, you didn't free me, you punished me. I thought I was going up. Everyone who knows you, who trusts you, they won't get rewarded. You know that. They'll all just be punished, just like me, as she falls to her demise. And falls to her demise as she does. How do you think that feels, says Spawn back in present time? Yoku and the ghost she's devoured form into a single union. Then they shatter themselves into glass, implanting their shards in as many possible places on Spawn's body as they can, burying deep inside him, where now he can feel their pain. He's fought hundreds of times against supernatural forces, but as a trained military man, he's always been far more effective in physical battles. But now, he's susceptible to those forces when buried inside them. They want him to be his own enemy. This is a whole different mental battle that Spawn's dealing with. Get on your knees, Spawn, because this is something you gotta be dealing with. But from the shadows, Sam Burke watches Spawn struggling. Sam doesn't understand the context of what he's hearing, but he knows he needs to help. He sends a ping that he's being trapped, and he sends a pin to Sam's location. So when Sam receives a ping moments later, he gets it. Twitch, says Terry, I could use some help. Get in the car. Are you okay, by the way, says Twitch. I'll survive, says Terry. Can you drive? I need you to get me to the Exodus Foundation. They've got Cyan. This is a reference to the previous issue. So somehow they knew where they were. Tar and some big ass dude, they came and grabbed her, and he couldn't stop him in time. So Terry's pissed. Don't you dare hurt his daughter. You know that, right? So Twitch looks at his phone again, and he sees Sam ping. And Twitch is like, I got a better idea. I think I know where Cyan's at, says Terry. Oh, so turns out that ping and Cyan's location may have a correlation with one another. So most cops at his precinct think Detective Burke is almost fearless. But Sam knows that fearlessness is mostly a survival tactic. He asks Spawn if he's okay, and Spawn's like, I just need a few minutes, man. I am in so much pain right now, dealing with some stuff, dealing with some juju I ain't never dealt with before. And Sam's like, don't worry, bruh, I got your back. And Sam intends to survive to get through this. So using deadly force against the aggressive attacker, Yoku, he shoots her. Boom, boom, boom. And it goes through holes inside of her, and it hurts. Now the ghost turned to Sam, and he has no idea though how to deal with the ghost. Still, he's willing to put his life on the line. Spawn, What's my move from here, says Sam. This is some freaky stuff, but it's too late. The hordes ascend, and as Spawn is struggling to fend them away, and these ghosts are scratching at Sam, crawling up on Sam, and all he could do is scream. And what possible chance does Detective Burke have to survive? Especially since Yoku has somehow made a miraculous recovery. When are you going to listen, says Yoku. Her eyes turn red. You see the holes inside of her midsection? I was her friend. She needed me. She needed my protection from the evil like you. All Sam could do was hold his damn breath as she advances and he's levitating up in the air with all these ghosts. There's a darkness inside of you, said Yoku. She puts her thumb over his eye, bleeds it shut. A black space where evil can hide. A space that needs to be stripped from your being. She pulls him to the hole in her chest, and it's not the kind of comfort that you would think when our heads are being pulled to the chest. No. It's a peephole. A look to look at the last time he was truly scared, when he was 8 years old and still innocent. We go into his flashback with Sam's dad beating his mother, to the day he remembers when fear washed over him and where he first learned how to hate something or someone. She should have left him the rot, says Sam. Why'd you let him do those things to you, says Yoku. And to her, and all Sam could do as an 8-year-old little boy is watch his dad womanize his mom, abuse her. Why, says Yoku. Why didn't you save her? Oh gosh, why you gotta take off the belt? And she whacked him in the face, reliving that trauma. She did everything she could, and you failed her, says Yoku. Spawn grabs Terry by the shirt. What I'm wondering is how deep of a connection you really have with them, because Exodus, Psalm 137, they both need to corrupt and control others for their bullshit to continue. How loyal are you, says Spawn. Retain Sam from getting whooped in the belt like that. Oh, she's quite loyal, actually. And the raspy voice belongs to Mr. Merivale, who has brought along his own trusted entourage of his daughter, Tar, their servant Behemoth, and most importantly, Cyan, who the Behemoth is holding. We're the ones that freed Billy Kincaid, who released Jason Wynn. You see, Hellspawn, technology and the supernatural are not as separate as you think. They're both tools to take advantage of when needed. So of course, we rescue young Yoku here when you abandon her, giving her access to the brightest minds we collected. All those brains are inside of her, and that's how you build power, one tiny step at a time, regardless of who it might hurt, because capitalism could be such a beautiful thing. Manipulate investors to give us the seed money for us to barter with the fate of this world. Like your dead zone, Spawn, they're an important piece to all this, says Yoku. You do understand now, Spawn, right? And back in the outside, Terry and Twitch look inside and they're like, you see what I'm saying? Yep, that's my daughter, says Terry. We gotta go in. My thoughts exactly. So they go in, but above, one of the venture capitalists Merivale spoke about watches as his investments are about to go through the roof. Money's about to be made in more ways than one, and we see these red eyes just laughing all the way to the bank as more death is about to come. And that is the end of this issue of King Spawn, issue number 23, where Spawn goes from hunter to the haunted and his deadly battle for survival. I don't know what the hell is gonna happen here, but Spawn, I think you gotta run for your money on this one, and this is about to go down. I can't wait for further issues of King Spawn, issue number 24 and beyond. So before we get into the issue, previously on King Spawn, Spawn and Sam have been surrounded by the forces of Exodus Corp. Little does everyone know that reinforcements in the form of Terry and Twitch are about to kick the door down. So just a quick recap, an Exodus Corp warehouse near the Hudson River where Tar Merivale and her father and the monster Behemoth have cornered Spawn. At least so it appears. But Spawn, that's where he discovered Yoko, who was once dead. Now she is risen. She is the conduit to the channel to the nightmares of New York City. And Sam Burke, caught in the middle of some biblical scrum, is just in the middle of it. But while outside, someone else watches, as we clearly see the point of view of that person watching, but we won't know who that is. Though it appears that Spawn is cornered, that person, whoever is watching, has a sadistic smile on his face. Even though we can't see it, his smile is sadistic. Just take my word for it. Because he knows that Spawn is far from cornered. And Spawn attacks the older Merivale, smashing him into the glass. Yoko is being launched into the Behemoth, and Spawn's power is at its very height, at its very peak, but he's not realizing that's exactly what Tar had wanted from him. She wanted to expend as much of his power as possible. She needed his anger on full display so her kiss of death could consume him and consume as much of his energy as it would allow. Tara sees this as an act of love, sharing with these all-powerful beings what it's like to feel vulnerable, to feel human again. Because as hidden wars play out across the globe, humanity will soon find out that what might actually save them is a small dose of love scattered across their battlefields. So Yoko approaches Cyan, she puts her fingertip on Cyan and she yells out her name. Cyan wakes up and yells out Yoko because they had a connection back in Spawn issue 200, even though editorial notes are not in there, but they're two spirits tied to one another, young women who trusted no one back in Japan, but somehow they found each other. So Yoko asks Cyan, do you remember? Because I do. I see us in Japan. You were running from them before. You unlocked them, your powers, they couldn't stay hidden, and you avenged my murderer. You made them pay, and that freed me. And I prayed that she stayed, Cyan, but that wouldn't give me peace, because the reason why it didn't give me peace is because the Disruptor and the Exodus Corporation, all of them have been using me to channel all these brains for their nefarious plot and their sadistic plot. But elsewhere in the dark, Tara Melver is done with Spawn and her kiss of death, and she tells Behemoth he's all yours. And Behemoth has his moment of triumph when he goes up to Spawn from behind, claps him up in the air, and claps him down to the ground face first and throws him to the side like some kind of rag doll that means nothing to him. But little does he know, Spawn's enemy have known about the existence of Hellspawns for centuries, and very few of the faction leaders or warriors have ever come face to face with one, and Behemoth is one of them. He's rarely came across Spawn, so what that actually means is he doesn't know what Spawn is truly capable of. And Spawn tells Behemoth, look at me and look at me real close. Like a ghost, Spawn allows the shadows to engulf him, to hide him, so he can plan his assault on the next attack. But before he does that, outside the warehouse, Twitch and Terry are looking upon all this happening and unfolding. So Terry tells Twitch, even though they're both confused about all this because this is supernatural stuff that they're not quite used to, or maybe they are, but it's just crazy stuff what's happening here. Human brains, supernatural fights, and Behemoth. Yeah, so Terry tells Twitch, ready on my count, 2, 1, and Terry and Twitch enter guns blazing. Twitch tags Mariville on the shoulder. Terry grabs his daughter Cyan and tells her, I'm getting you out of here. And Cyan's like, well, what about Spawn? Don't worry about him. He'll take care of himself. Terry shoots out the light and it all goes dark. And taking care of himself is exactly what Spawn's about to do. So if his enemies want to torture Spawn and maim him and control him, okay, that's okay, because he's okay with that because he knows he can deal with that. But he doesn't like when his enemies use the innocent and the vulnerable as tools towards their agenda, and that's when Spawn's anger reaches its peak. So he tells him, Exodus, that's what you guys call yourself, the Exodus Foundation? How ironic a word you choose, because Exodus is the second book of the Bible. The word means to depart. To scholars, it means the departure of this world to another. For Spawn, it's about to mean extinguished from existence, and he goes after the Behemoth. And when he's done, they'll know it was never a contest, and that the result was never in doubt. Spawn goes to work on Behemoth, impales him with his own fist, and tells Behemoth in the act of superiority, tells him, you don't even understand the things that you've woken up, do you? And pushes him down to the side onto Tara Melver. So Tara Melver has to get this big Behemoth up off of her, and she's like, oh hell no, I'm going after Spawn now. So is it delusion? Is it insanity? Whatever it is, the villains still attempt to press their attack towards Spawn. So Cyan was like, Yoku, you cannot stand by and idly watch all this violence go down. But she does. So Spawn knows when Tara Melva gets up, he has to keep his distance from her because he knows he can't allow Tara to put her lips on him again. And not in that kind of way where it's like lip locking, like high school prom kind of kissing. No, this is a kiss of death we're talking about. So when Tara Melva yells out Yoku, the reason why she does that is because for all this time they've been trying to make her their slave since resurrecting her, forcing her to endure the invasion of so many wicked souls in her mind. Then they wanted her to entrap them to make those souls her slaves, to continue the pattern of oppression into the next decade. But yet, seeing Cyan has reminded Yoku of the last time she felt like someone, the last time she felt still human, that she somehow still cared about her even if she was half dead. Cyan was that catalyst for Yoku. So Yoku looks at Tar Melvin tells her, hey, you know what, she's paid her price. And Spawn's like, okay, well, you and I are not done yet. What about us? And Yoku tells Spawn, we do nothing. You and I are done. So, but minutes later, Yoku shows Spawn the cameras that they're connected to throughout the world with the faithful zealots of the Exodus Corp, including Jericho. And Jericho turns around looking at the camera and tells Spawn, you knew we made contingency plans. Because of you, we're all mobilized. Now, Exodus, Revelations are both waiting for you, thanks in part to exiling me into the dead zone, Spawn. He calling him out and tells Spawn there's a whole lot more to the story than you think about. So Spawn looks at Jericho's like, you were sent there to die, so shut up, bruh. And Jericho's like, actually, we think it's you humans that should suffer the same fate, not me. So, but before Jericho complete his sentence and continue on, he is grabbed from behind by a behemoth, and that is it. The camera goes black. Spawn looks at Tar Melver's father and tells him, you took this girl, then teased us about her mother returning. Now you're threatening Earth? That's some bull jive. And to what end? So he responds with, hey, look, don't come at me like that. A flood is coming. You either accept and join us, or this planet drowns like the tales of Noah's Ark. So Spawn's like, man, enough of this shit. Stop threatening me. Stop threatening and just do it. Tell your bosses and show me how tough they really are. So now run, little dog. So Sam looks at Spawn like, really? You're just gonna let him go? And Spawn's like, no, not really. I'm gonna hunt him later because he'll lead me straight to the head of their pack. But before Maraville can do that, he's also running away from another threat. And that threat is the one that just murdered him as his head just plops to the ground. So sadly, Spawn's group barely reacts to this as they've all grown used to the atrocities of war. They're used to this, as disgusting as it may be, just seeing a dead man's head all bloodied out to the ground. So Twitch is like, someone's hiding out there, and Spawn's like, I know. He's another I've been hunting, and he approaches a large shadow right there. So with a calm smoke is lit, matches are not needed for this guy, and he tells Spawn, good evening, Simmons. I suggest you say goodbye to your friends. I'm gonna need you for a little while. And where we're going, most of them wouldn't survive anyway. Hell, we might not survive either. And that is the end of this issue of King Spawn, issue number 24. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. I always felt the Violator was always at play here, because even when Spawn defeats him, he comes back stronger and more sadistic than ever. And I can't wait to see what the next issue has in store for us. So with all that being said, King Spawn issue number 24, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or some of our other Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.